Dr. Lena Anwar had spent her life chasing whispers of the past. A renowned archaeologist and astrophysicist, she had long been fascinated by the ancient Egyptians, whose monuments seemed to defy the constraints of their time. But what fascinated her most was their obsession with the serpent. The coiled serpent appeared in countless artifacts, hieroglyphs, and murals, always positioned as a guardian of secrets or a guide to the afterlife. It wasn't until the discovery of the Abydos Tablet, a massive stone slab unearthed deep beneath the ruins of Abydos, that Lena realized how literal their fascination might have been. The tablet depicted a massive coiled serpent wrapped around a cluster of stars. Carved alongside it was an inscription that translated to, "The serpent's path is the gateway to eternal horizons." But it wasn't just poetic. The stars carved within the serpent's coils matched no ancient star chart Lena had ever seen. Instead, they aligned perfectly with a map of the current night sky, only visible from Earth every 26,000 years due to the precession of the equinoxes. Lena sat in the control room of the Odyssey, a state-of-the-art spacecraft funded by the International Space Coalition, ISC. She was surrounded by an eclectic crew: Commander Malik, a no-nonsense ex-military pilot, Dr. Saito, an expert in advanced propulsion systems, and Amira, a young linguist who specialized in ancient languages and symbols. "The coordinates match," Lena said, her voice tinged with disbelief as she stared at the holographic star map. "The serpent's path leads to a point just beyond the Kuiper belt. If these inscriptions are correct, there's a wormhole there." "A wormhole?" Commander Malik raised an eyebrow. "That's quite a leap, Doctor." "It's not a leap," Lena insisted. "The tablet isn't just a map. It's a guide. The markings suggest the serpent represents a traversable wormhole, a galactic shortcut. And the Egyptians knew about it." Amira chimed in, her voice tinged with excitement. "The hieroglyphs speak of a great journey across the stars. They describe the serpent as a bridge between worlds. It's not just mythology, it's a roadmap." Skepticism hung heavy in the air, but the allure of discovery was undeniable. Within weeks, the Odyssey launched, following the path marked by the ancient serpent. As the ship approached the coordinates, tension filled the cabin. The crew's instruments began picking up gravitational anomalies, and a shimmering distortion appeared in the void ahead. "It's real," Dr. Saito whispered, staring at the undulating ripple in space-time. "A stable Einstein-Rosen bridge." "Prepare for entry," Commander Malik ordered. The Odyssey plunged into the wormhole, and for a moment, the universe seemed to twist and shatter around them. Then, as suddenly as it began, the chaos subsided, revealing a breathtaking sight: a planetary system orbiting a binary star. But these weren't just any planets. Their surfaces shimmered with golden hues, their architectures unmistakably inspired by ancient Egypt. Towering obelisks reached toward the sky, and pyramids glowed faintly with what appeared to be advanced energy fields. "Unbelievable," Lena murmured. "It's like stepping into a myth." Amira, wide-eyed, pointed at a massive structure on the largest planet. "Look at that." It was a colossal pyramid, far larger than anything on Earth, and etched into its sides was the unmistakable symbol of the coiled serpent. At the center of the pyramid, they found a massive orb suspended in midair. It pulsed with energy, its surface alive with shifting patterns. Dr. Saito approached it cautiously. "This looks like some kind of navigational device." As he touched the orb, it emitted a low hum, and a holographic projection filled the room. It showed a network of planets connected by glowing pathways, the serpent's path in its entirety. "This is a star map," Lena realized, "and it's pointing to other systems. This isn't the only planet in the network." The Odyssey landed near the pyramid, its engines humming softly as the crew disembarked. The air was breathable, though tinged with an otherworldly scent that Lena couldn't place. As they approached the pyramid, its surface began to shift, glowing brighter as if reacting to their presence. A narrow entrance materialized, and Amira stepped forward, her hand tracing the hieroglyphs carved into the doorway. "It's a warning," she said, her voice trembling. "Only those who walk the serpent's path may enter." Commander Malik hesitated. "And if we're not meant to walk it?" Amira shrugged. "We might not come out." Despite the warning, they pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and determination. Inside, the walls were lined with golden panels, each depicting scenes of starships, alien landscapes, and figures that resembled Egyptian gods. "It's not just a tomb," Lena said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "It's a record. They weren't gods, they were travelers." The orb's glow intensified, and the pyramid began to tremble. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in a language none of them recognized. It's a security measure, Amira guessed, frantically analyzing the hieroglyphs around the orb. It's testing us. What does it want? Malik demanded. Knowledge, Amira replied. It's asking us to prove we're worthy of the Serpent's path. Lena stepped forward, her mind racing. She recited passages from the Abydos Tablet, matching the symbols on the orb to the stories she had studied for years. Slowly, the trembling subsided, and the voice shifted to a tone of approval. The orb's projection expanded, revealing more details about the network. Each planet in the path was a repository of advanced knowledge and technology, left behind by a civilization that had traveled the stars long before humanity. This isn't just a map, Lena said, her eyes wide. It's an invitation. They wanted us to find this. As the crew returned to the Odyssey, exhilarated by their discovery, Lena couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. She mentioned it to Malik, who dismissed it as post-mission jitters. But as the ship prepared to leave the planet's atmosphere, their sensors detected movement. A fleet of sleek, black ships emerged from the shadows of the binary stars, their designs eerily reminiscent of the ancient carvings inside the pyramid. Unknown vessels approaching, Dr. Saito announced. They're not responding to hails. The ships surrounded the Odyssey, their weapons trained on it. A voice crackled through the comms, speaking in the same ancient language as the pyramid's guardian. Amira's face turned pale as she translated. They're calling us intruders. They think we've stolen the Serpent's secrets. What do we do? Malik asked, his hands tightening on the controls. Lena stared at the alien fleet, her mind racing. The Serpent's path had revealed wonders beyond imagination, but it had also awakened forces that might not welcome humanity's presence. This is only the beginning, she said softly. The alien ships hovered in perfect formation, a seamless wall of black metal, their designs flowing like liquid obsidian. The crew of the Odyssey was silent, each member waiting for Commander Malik to give an order. Hold position, Malik said firmly. No sudden moves. The comms crackled again, the alien voice sharp and commanding. Amira worked furiously to decode it, her hands trembling as she typed into the translation module. They're demanding proof, she finally said. They want us to show we've earned the right to follow the Serpent's path. The alien ships hovered in perfect formation, a seamless wall of black metal, their designs flowing like liquid obsidian. The crew of the Odyssey was silent, each member waiting for Commander Malik to give an order. Hold position, Malik said firmly. No sudden moves. The comms crackled again, the alien voice sharp and commanding. Amira worked furiously to decode it, her hands trembling as she typed into the translation module. They're demanding proof, she finally said. They want us to show we've earned the right to follow the Serpent's path. Malik gave the order. Show them the orb. Lena reluctantly retrieved the orb from its containment field. As its golden surface shimmered under the ship's lights, the alien ships responded, pulling back slightly. One of them projected a beam of light directly into the Odyssey's bridge. The beam coalesced into a hologram, a towering alien figure draped in robes that seemed to shimmer like stars. Its head was elongated, its face adorned with markings that resembled hieroglyphs. You have awakened the path, the alien said, speaking in a stilted version of their language that the ship's translator patched together. Prove your worthiness, or the path shall close to your kind forever. Wait, Malik said, stepping forward. We mean no harm. We're explorers seeking knowledge. The alien tilted its head. The path is not for explorers. It is for those who protect its purpose. Are you protectors? Lena interjected. The civilizations that created this network left it behind for others to find. We're trying to honor that. Let us show you. The alien paused, then gestured. Follow. The trial begins. The alien fleet guided the Odyssey to a smaller planet, its surface covered in jagged peaks and shimmering crystal plains. A massive arena dominated the landscape, its walls inscribed with symbols that glowed faintly under the planet's twin moons. As the crew disembarked, they were met by more of the robed aliens, each carrying staff-like devices that pulsed with energy. What is this place? Lena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Amira translated the inscription at the arena's entrance. The Chamber of Trials. It's where those who walk the Serpent's path prove their intentions. Inside the arena, the crew was separated into individual chambers. Holograms flickered to life, each one presenting a scenario tailored to the person standing before it. Lena found herself in a simulation of Earth's past, a dig site she recognized instantly. It was her first major discovery, a tomb filled with artifacts she had meticulously catalogued. But in this version of the past, her younger self was recklessly smashing through delicate structures in her eagerness to uncover treasure. A voice echoed around her. Knowledge must be earned, not stolen. Do you take only what you desire, or do you protect what is sacred? Lena approached her younger self and gently took the tools from her hands. It's not about the treasure, she said. It's about understanding the story it tells. The scene dissolved, replaced by a glowing doorway. Malik stood on the bridge of a simulated warship, under attack from an unseen enemy. The crew shouted for orders, their panic palpable. A voice spoke. Power demands restraint. Do you fight to dominate, or do you fight to defend? Malik hesitated, then ordered the ship's weapons to disable the attackers rather than destroy them. The enemy ship retreated, and the bridge transformed into a peaceful starscape. Amira found herself surrounded by ancient texts in countless languages, some of which she had spent her life trying to decode. A voice whispered, "Do you seek understanding for yourself, or do you share it for the greater good?" Amira began transcribing the texts into a universal language, ensuring their meanings would not be lost. The voice fell silent, and a path opened before her. When the trials ended, the crew was reunited in the center of the arena. The robed aliens stood in a circle around them, their staffs glowing brighter than before. "You have passed the trials," the leader announced. "You are protectors of the path." The aliens stepped aside, revealing a massive gateway at the far end of the arena. It was adorned with serpentine carvings, its center filled with swirling energy. "This is the second step," the leader said. "The serpent's path leads not just to knowledge, but to purpose. Beyond this gate lies a world where your resolve will be tested further." "Why all the secrecy?" Malik asked. "Why not just tell us what's at stake?" The alien's gaze seemed to pierce through him. "Because words cannot prepare you for what lies ahead. Only action can." The crew returned to the Odyssey, their minds buzzing with questions and possibilities. As the ship powered up, Lena stared at the swirling energy of the gateway. "This isn't just about exploration," she said softly. "It's about legacy. The Serpent's path isn't a map, it's a trial, a guide, and a challenge. And if we fail, we won't," Malik said firmly. "We've made it this far. We'll see it through." With a deep breath, Malik gave the order. "Take us through." The Odyssey surged forward, plunging into the gateway. The ship was enveloped in light, and for a moment, reality seemed to dissolve. When the light faded, they found themselves orbiting a planet unlike anything they had seen before. Its surface shimmered with gold and obsidian, its skies filled with structures that defied gravity. A new voice filled their comms. "Welcome to the Nexus of Eternity. Your journey has just begun." As the Odyssey orbited the new planet, the crew marveled at its ethereal beauty. The surface shimmered like liquid gold, dotted with colossal structures that seemed to float above the ground. Vast rivers of energy coursed across the landscape, forming intricate patterns visible even from space. Lena's voice broke the awe-filled silence. "The Nexus of Eternity," she said, staring at the planet's shimmering horizon. "If this place holds the key to the Serpent's path, then we've found something far greater than we imagined." Commander Malik nodded. "We've come this far. Let's find out what's waiting for us down there." The Odyssey descended toward the largest structure, a massive, pyramid-like complex suspended on a floating platform. As they approached, their instruments detected no signs of life, at least none they could recognize. The crew disembarked, stepping cautiously onto the platform. The air was warm and faintly crackling, charged with unseen energy. At the pyramid's entrance stood a massive doorway, inscribed with glowing hieroglyphs that pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Amira approached the doorway, running her fingers along the symbols. "These inscriptions are more complex than anything we've seen. They're alive somehow." The doorway lit up as she spoke, and a deep, resonant voice filled the air. "Speak your purpose." Malik stepped forward. "We seek the knowledge of the Serpent's path." The voice responded, its tone sharp and probing. "Knowledge alone is a hollow pursuit. To what end do you seek it?" Lena answered, her voice steady. "To understand, to protect, and to share it with those who can benefit." The doorway hummed, then parted with a sound like cracking ice. "Enter. But beware. The answers you seek may not be the ones you desire." The crew disembarked, stepping cautiously onto the platform. The air was warm and faintly crackling, charged with unseen energy. At the pyramid's entrance stood a massive doorway, inscribed with glowing hieroglyphs that pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Amira approached the doorway, running her fingers along the symbols. "These inscriptions are more complex than anything we've seen. They're alive somehow." The doorway lit up as she spoke, and a deep, resonant voice filled the air. "Speak your purpose." Malik stepped forward. "We seek the knowledge of the Serpent's path." The voice responded, its tone sharp and probing. "Knowledge alone is a hollow pursuit. To what end do you seek it?" Lena answered, her voice steady. "To understand, to protect, and to share it with those who can benefit." The doorway hummed, then parted with a sound like cracking ice. "Enter. But beware. The answers you seek may not be the ones you desire." Inside, the crew found themselves in a vast chamber filled with floating orbs, each radiating a soft golden light. As they moved closer, the orbs flickered to life, projecting scenes from across the galaxy. One orb showed an advanced civilization thriving on a distant planet, their cities reaching into the stars. Another displayed a world consumed by war, its surface scorched and barren. Lena reached for an orb, and the moment she touched it, her mind was flooded with memories. Not her own, but those of an ancient traveler who had walked the Serpent's path before her. She saw alien worlds, great alliances, and devastating betrayals. "This place," Lena said, her voice trembling. "It's a repository of memory. Every traveler who's walked the path has left something behind." Amira touched another orb, gasping as she experienced the rise and fall of a civilization that had once thrived on the Nexus itself. "They were the architects of the path," she whispered. "But something destroyed them." At the chamber's center, a pedestal rose from the floor, holding a larger orb that pulsed with brilliant light. As Lena approached, the orb emitted a holographic projection of a tall, regal figure draped in glowing robes. "I am Seshatet," the figure said, its voice resonating with authority. "One of the last of the architects. You have come seeking the truth of the path. What happened to your people?" Lena asked, her voice heavy with curiosity and dread. The hologram flickered, showing scenes of the Nexus in its prime. The architects had created the Serpent's path to unite worlds, sharing knowledge and technology across the galaxy. But their gift had become their undoing. "The path became a weapon," Seshatet explained. "Some used it to conquer, to dominate. The balance we sought to preserve was shattered. To protect what remained, we sealed the Nexus and set trials for those who would seek to follow." "Are we too late to fix it?" Malik asked. "No," Seshatet replied. "The path can still serve its purpose, but it requires guardians, beings willing to protect its legacy, no matter the cost." As the projection faded, the larger orb began to glow more intensely. The chamber trembled, and a new doorway opened, leading to a narrow bridge suspended over a chasm filled with swirling energy. "What now?" Malik asked, gripping his weapon tightly. Lena stepped forward. "I think this is the next test. The path isn't just about knowledge, it's about responsibility. We have to prove we're willing to take it on." The crew crossed the bridge, their steps echoing in the vast emptiness. On the other side, they found a circular chamber with a pedestal at its center. Upon the pedestal rested a small, golden serpent coiled around a glowing orb. Amira approached cautiously, reading the inscriptions around the pedestal. "It's a choice," she said. "Take the serpent, and you accept the burden of the path. Leave it, and the path will close to us forever." "We can't leave it," Lena said. "The knowledge, the connections this path offers, it could change everything." "But it's a burden," Malik reminded her. "We'd be responsible for protecting it, for keeping it from falling into the wrong hands." After a tense silence, Malik stepped forward and reached for the serpent. As he lifted it from the pedestal, the chamber filled with light, and the walls began to shimmer, revealing new pathways. Before the crew could celebrate, the chamber shook violently. Alarms blared on their comms as the Odyssey signaled an incoming attack. "Unknown ships entering the atmosphere," Saito shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. The crew raced back to the ship, but as they reached the surface, they saw a fleet of black, angular ships descending from the sky. These weren't the same guardians they had encountered earlier. These ships bore the scars of war and glowed with an ominous red light. Lena's stomach sank. "They followed us. Someone else wants the path." The alien ships opened fire, and the Odyssey barely managed to lift off in time. Malik barked orders, dodging blasts as the crew scrambled to activate the ship's defenses. "We can't fight them alone," Lena said. "The Nexus, there must be a way to use it against them." Amira's eyes lit up. "The memory orbs. If we can connect to the Nexus network, we might find a way to activate its defenses." As the Odyssey dodged enemy fire, Lena and Amira raced to the ship's memory interface, linking it to the golden orb they had taken. A flood of knowledge poured into their systems, revealing the Nexus' hidden power, a planetary shield capable of obliterating any hostile fleet. Activate it, Malik shouted. The crew worked frantically, and just as the alien ships closed in, the Nexus erupted in a brilliant wave of energy. The hostile fleet disintegrated, leaving the sky clear once more. As the dust settled, the crew stared at the glowing serpent in Malik's hand. It no longer felt like a mere artifact. It was a key, a responsibility, and a promise. We're not just explorers anymore, Lena said. We're protectors of the path. The voice of Seshatet echoed in their minds. Your journey is far from over. The path will test you again, but you have taken the first step. Guard it well. As the Odyssey prepared to leave the Nexus, the crew knew their mission had changed. The Serpent's path was no longer just a map. It was a calling. And their greatest challenges were still ahead.